Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gents, and in this video I would like to showcase a mod called gestae, which is Latin for achievements or exploits. And this mod changes a few things. It changes the stats of some units, namely melee units will do pure hack damage, which you can see on the pikeman and on the spearman. The pikeman also has different armor values and attack values as in the original. The pikeman also gets a bonus called friction, and I am not really familiar with that, so maybe that will come into the game. And we also have something about the spear cavalry. The spear cavalry gets 7 pierce armor, so that means that it is very good against ranged units, and the ranged units are also special in this mod, namely they have 20 pierce attack. However, their interval between attacks is a lot longer, and it's also true for the skirmisher. And the militia cavalry or the javelin cavalry has also a special feature, namely that it has 150 HP and it now has only 7 range, so basically it's a melee unit with a decent attack value. So also the arsenal is in phase 2, and in phase 2 you can only train the battering ram. The blacksmith has a little bit been reworked. You will get a general attacks upgrade for your soldiers, and still 2 different defense upgrades, one against hack damage, which will be against opposing melee units, and one against pierce damage, which will only be dealt by ranged units. We will also see that the battering ram does less crush damage, and this advanced siege upgrade can still give it some extra crush damage, but not enough to restore it to its original. And speed upgrades are also found in the blacksmith, so you will need a lot more blacksmith technologies in this mod, so it becomes a more important building. And cavalry archers do still have similar to their original values of damage, so they are unlike most other ranged units, and also unlike regular archers. And champions also are unchanged, so they also deal the original values. And if you look at the champion, pikeman, we will also see that it looks like the former pikeman. And if we go quickly to the cushions, we see that the axeman has also been unchanged here, and the elephants have been left unchanged, and their champions also are still the same. So this champion does less damage per attack than a normal archer would. However, the interval is shorter for the champion archer. And then one more thing, the sword cavalry has been improved a little, but its resistances remain the same, so that means that it does not benefit from the enormous pierce armor boost that the spear cavalry has received. And now I will play a game against the most difficult AI, and this AI is more difficult because it has higher gather rates for its units, and that will give it a serious advantage. Okay, here I am in the observer mode, I initially wanted to show my POV, so you could also see the way I do it and the actions which I perform to play the game. Only I discovered that it does not really give good YouTube content, as during the game I really start to mumble, and it also does not allow me to provide the best YouTube content and to look at all the things which have been changed. And some things which can be added to the story of the tech tree is that the AI Okay, here I am in observer mode. I initially wanted to catch the game from my POV to give you also an idea which movements I do and which actions I do, so you could also see how I defeat the AI. However, when I start playing and casting at the same time, I really start to mumble, and it also gives us the opportunity to look at different things. I will also put my POV in the description of this video, so you can check that out, but it does not give the best YouTube content, and I thought if I just am mumbling in the video like this, it does not really justify the mod and the qualities it has. So this is the AI, and you can see that it has indeed different gather rates than a player has. I think that also goes for the horse. Indeed, the horse has also 1.8 times the collection rates. And if we also look at the speed of these units, we will see that it has these pikemen still have the same speed. What we see, however, is that spearmen also have the same speed. Women are also a speed of 9, which you could have seen earlier, but skirmishes have been reduced to a speed of 9. And I would also like to highlight that this cavalry has a speed of 9. So that's all fine and so. And if you look to how this AI performs in terms of the actions that it does, it doesn't do everything fantastic. Normally you would say this is a ridiculous way to manage your economy, but the AI gets this done because it has increased gather rates. The storehouse placement is good, the farmstead placement is not so good, and it probably really floats food right now. Now not that much, but it also has already 3 women in the queue, and it's also running a mile to be able to build just another house, and it will also build a lot of houses in the same area. I will try to create a wall with my houses. We see that it already has a population advantage, and it trains mainly women from the CC, and now there are also some skirmishes trained from the CC. And it also has some perfect unit queues in the sense that there is no gap between 2 groups of units. And also, if you do what I did at the start, if you build a storehouse, a farmstead, and directly follow that up with the berry garden training, you will have most often too little wood to directly build the house before getting 20 population, and it will also slow your population. One reason why I'm behind in population is because I trained cavalry, and the cavalry also trains a little slower. And once these cavalry are being trained, I will rush the AI, and you might think that gives me an unfair advantage, but we will see how it goes. It's already able to build its barracks on top of the 4 houses, and it does not yet have any extra upgrades apart from the berry upgrade, and I'm also able to produce barracks. And if we look to the amount of collected resources, we see that the AI is slightly ahead, but it's only slightly ahead, even though its units gather 80% faster. So it's not really as optimal as a high-ranked player would do it. So there the cavalry are going to attack some, or maybe, yeah, they are going to attack right now. They've already eaten some sheep here, and we will see if this AI is better to respond against the cavalry than Petra is. This amount of wood gatherers will be easily spotted, and that's also where I'm heading right now. And we will see also how the javelin cavalry will perform with their javelin range, mainly as melee units. And I see that there are few infantry around, so I can easily take this battle. Because the units have such short range, they tended to go back because I had my units at defensive stance. However, their attack is still good, not as good as it used to be. They have 150 HP, and there go a number of units down. We see that there was a KD of 3 up to 15, and now there are 7 more units chasing my troops, which aren't doing anything right now. And there goes another women building a house. The AI has enough houses right now, so that does not provide any problems. It gets the barracks running, and well, it only has the barracks running because it gathers wood so quickly. It currently has very few wood gatherers, which would normally not be enough to keep this barracks running, but the AI can with its increased gather rates. And there my cavalry are back again once they decided there were too many units chasing them, and I get a few extra kills here. And it really seems odd that the cavalry have to get that close to be able to get a kill. And right here we see 17 units chasing 9 cavalry, so that's a win for me. 18 right now, and I see that they are separated, so I just take out a skirmisher here without losing an extra cavalry, and I'm running around here, and soon I will discover all these farms that are being unprotected, and also these women which are being unprotected, so that will be another massacre. However, a second barrack is going up, and this barrack is still pumping out troops, and so even though the KD looks great for me, and also the amount of time the opponent's units have been walking is also nice, it's not like there is an advantage in population, and if I didn't push my opponent, he would surely be ahead. However, it gets more and more crazy as the game progresses, as the AI will constantly keep its barracks running Um, and let's check how much the AI has in food, which is 24, and with an 80% increase in gather rate, that will be roughly equivalent to 40 farmers, and that's more than enough to keep 2 barracks and a CC running. Also, as I've already showcased, women also collect wood faster than men do, and that's one of the reasons why I researched female fertility festival. And I haven't really made use of it right now because I'm busy using the AI, and right now I'm making a turn to see if there are any vulnerable targets here. And the AI has been able to pull ahead of me just because of its gather rates and the fact that it just keeps 2 barrels running all the time. Currently it is short and wood to produce a batch of 5 units, and that's really what it wants to do, produce batches of units, and it has 25 women killed in its CC, and another little wait here, and another barracks being constructed, and the barracks will also be training units all the time. And if these infantry women running after me all the time, both these barracks would be producing all the time, and that would also be true for this next barracks. So I advanced to the second phase right now, and that allows me to produce a military colony. And military colony is a building that is fairly cheap. I only built 1 barracks, so that means that I had 200 of my starting stone left, which is enough to produce a military colony. I gathered some extra metal, which I will need for some mercenaries, and these units are somewhat damaged, not all of them, but I decide to wait until the colony is finished and then garrison them in the colony. And these women are being produced by by the fertility festival, and I also ran out of wood right here, so this colony is what I really need to be able to gather wood efficiently. I place a storehouse here, and soon a storehouse will be produced here, and currently I'm just queuing a lot of women, and I'm training mercenaries, and these mercenaries I will use to distract the AI and keep it running. The AI also advances to phase 2. It has 3 barracks, and it has only 2 of them currently running. It also has built a stable, which it isn't using currently, and I also see that there is a tower being constructed, and the archers will being produced right now, so they can stop those units from building this tower, and we will see that these archers are fairly effective in this mod. I will produce a market to sell some surplus resources for metal to be able to get more troops. A barracks is being built here, and honestly I should maybe have let the AI complete this barracks such that I would be able to capture it. And we see that these archers are really making short work of the infantry, which are sending one by one towards me. And I also decide to send a tower here, or to build a tower here. And these archers are still picking off some units one by one, and these units are not really bothered by the teammates being killed. So that's that's already a 5th barracks somewhere in construction, right here. And he's now making 15 units at a time if he is not housed. However, these archers will help my opponent by not being housed. I also see that he's moving with some women right here, so I decide I need to stop that. I also see some spear cavalry right here, and yeah, currently these archers are shooting all the time, and they should probably fairly soon become elite. Some of them already are, but it wouldn't take too long. I'm also having a forge, and I decide that my opponent is just sending units endlessly at me, and the way I can defeat that is by killing them quicker or faster than my opponent can create them. So I really need some extra attack. And right now my opponent is sending more and more units towards me, and my production is really too slow to keep up with that. And we see that populations are fairly equal, even though the KD has been 1 to 12, and I just realized I need more barracks. I also have more colonies in order to produce archers faster, to kill my opponent faster and faster. I produce a tower right here to deny the CC forever, because it would be annoying if the CC would be built. The AI still wants to build this tower, and my archers are shooting all the time, so that's 29 archers constantly getting kills against the enemy. And you'll see if the flow of units of my enemy will soon be over, whether he collapses against all the archers that are constantly killing opposing units, and whether he is still being able to keep massing troops. And I decide I want to build a colony right in these minerals. I mistook them for being metal, but I also mistook these minerals for being metal, which is really harmful, because I will be stacking a lot of stone which I don't really have a purpose for. And currently I have 38 archers raining death all the time. And I've also lost the units building this colony, and I decided I wanted to be able to produce more units, because my opponent is still sending units towards me, and the AI has still a lot of units in the queue. He has 2 stables and is also using them. And the KD is getting less spurs for the AI. And at this point I really think, oh, I have been overwhelmed. And I get the idea that I'm now in trouble right now. Actually, I think I'm not in such a bad position. I do have a population lead, and I do also have the infantry elite, though the number of infantry plus cavalry is higher for the AI. And there is of course a temple around my archers, who are also, a lot of them are rank 3, or actually not that many, and I've also lost a considerable amount of archers. 6 are still in my military colony, and those aren't doing a lot. And currently it really seems like the AI is getting the CC being completed. However, he retreats some of his units, and that's really a bad thing for the AI. You could have seen that from the KD it is not the best AI in terms of unit movement. So currently I am still shooting a little bit with my archers. I'm garrisoning them, and if you look at the KD you can probably guess how this is going right now. I advanced to the city phase, and I will just speed it a little because this is gonna be take a time, or this will take a little while, and the AI will just waste its units. So there I will be shooting again, and now that's actually the same as I will be saying for the next 5 minutes. Or at least I think I will be just saying that for the next 5 minutes. However, if we look at these masses of units, we will see that these units aren't overlapping with each other, and I think that's really nice, and that's also good for the gameplay, because in the original 825 you will just see that skirmishes run in, and then they will stack all on top of each other, and you won't be able to see how many of them there are. For some reason I am capturing this barracks while taking heavy damage. However, I do currently have 72 archers firing away, which is something. And I've also realized, hey, I can use this temple to produce some units, and because my opponent now has one less barracks, he will also be less spammy. So that's a way you can stop the AI in the end. Just take their barracks, and if the AI also loses this barracks on top of it, he will if he loses also this barracks on top of it, he will have 2 working barracks, as I see, because, or 3 working barracks success. 1, 2, 3, and this one will also complete, so that will be 4. And on the other side I do have 5 working barracks. I have built one here to connect my territory, and I wanted to get the territory really connected, so I decided just a storehouse would be enough. However, and I'm also producing mercenaries from 3 colonies, which means that my production is as good as the production of the AI is. And you can really see that I'm outnumbering the AI. I also have a lot more kills than the AI. Yeah, and soon it will be over. An elephant will come out, and yeah, that's it. I will just zoom a little bit in on the units to see how they perform in masses, and if they are overlapping. You can see here that there are a lot of arches, but they aren't really stacked on each other too much. Here they get stacked, but you can count the helmets. So that's something. Stacking is still there, but not as much as there is in A25. And I will go for this barracks, and I will wait for another fight to see how the stacking performs. And there is a tower here which is currently firing at my troops, but I just ignore that and I go for the opposing CC. And considering the population difference, I shouldn't have any trouble doing so. And I also have more barracks working than my opponent does. So there will go this CC shortly, and okay, there I captured the CC, and when the CC is captured, the AI will delete a lot of his buildings, so that makes it easier for me to close this game, and now I only need to destroy the fortress. And there is a CC being placed here, and I was sending some units around so that CC gets dealt with, and also this fortress gets dealt with, and that's the game. So this shows how the mod looks like, and if you want to give the mod a try, I will also link to this page on the forum in the description of this video. And I hope you have enjoyed this video, and you will also enjoy the mod. See you in the next video.